Model making, that's new. Ooh, I bet you I could do that. I should make a model. It was then I realized I didn't know how, but I did anyways. To start this journey, I first had to decide what I wanted to make. I didn't want to do anything too complicated, but I also didn't want to copy someone else's work and do a tutorial. Because directions are for the patient. And that's not me, and also I wanted to make something original. So after thinking about what I should make, I remembered one of the best, if not the best, video game I had ever played. Outer Wilds. What's not to love about the game? It has innovative design, beautiful graphics, great controls, and the best part is the story. I'm going to try not to spoil this, but, it's gonna have some very minor spoilers. So, when I started making the model, I had just finished playing the DLC. That's when I decided to make this. This is part of the DLC, but so I don't spoil anything, I'm just going to be talking about the design of the raft itself. Now, let's get in to the project. I started the project by cutting out a piece of paper to get the basic shape of the raft, because it is, I believe, an octagon. And then I realized, oh, I'm gonna need material. So I went to the basement. Dun dun dun! Now that I had gotten my material, it was time to start cutting. So I put the paper I cut out onto the cardboard to use as a guide, and got my little X-Acto knife and began to cut out what would become the floor of the raft. That I made the little detailing for the bottom of the raft. I actually had to go into the game and get my own photo, which is one of the photos you saw earlier, to see what the detailing on the bottom of the raft looked like, because I couldn't find any good pictures online. So I went into the game, got the picture, then I made all of the stuff, forgot to record it, so here is the finished bottom recording thing. And then I made these glowy things for the top, the ones that you use to navigate, the light crystal things. So after I stuck all the light crystal things on, I began the long process of painting the whole thing. And this is a time lapse of me painting. I used acrylic paints and painted it. It took some time, but I think it turned out pretty decently. I'm not a painter, and I had to do all of the detailing by hand, but overall it turned out okay when I did it, like I said before. And I did use a very fine tip brush to get some of the finer details, and I also used glue, as you're seeing here, to kind of get a little bit of that depth when you can see it, and so I let that glue dry and eventually then painted on that glue once it dried. The light fixture things were made using hot glue, and I burnt my fingers actually when making it because I added paint in the hot glue to get those to be green. Now I'm just letting it dry here for a second, and yeah. So after that, I finished up by painting the top bits to make them the correct color. After I finished the base, I moved on to making the railings. I started by outlining the shape I wanted on cardboard and then cutting those out. After I did that, I laid all of them out together and painted them so that they were going to be the correct color, because I thought it was going to be easier to paint them lying down than if they were already glued on. Once I finished making all of them, and trust me, making 8 separate identical pieces takes a while, I then started painting them, detailing them, and then gluing them on. As I glued the pieces on, they really started to come together, started looking like the raft. Of course, I and then still needed to make the bottom and needed to glue the rest of them on. But I was starting to actually see my project coming to fruition. And with that, my project was done. I glued on all the rest of the pieces and it was finished. Well, my desk was a mess, so let's fix that. And there we go, nice and clean. Now, for the final project reveal. Thank you for so much watching my silly little video. I really enjoyed making it. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, leave a like to let me know. Thanks for watching, and goodbye!